Guys, if you like Dragon Ball Hakai, today is the best day for you to subscribe to our Patreon. We started publishing about 3 pages a day of the next chapter of Dragon Ball Hakai. In addition, you will also have access to several other stories created by our team, including Dragon Ball Shinken. By collaborating with our Patreon, you help us keep Dragon Ball Hakai alive and have a lot of benefits. Become a member of our community too. The link is in the video description and in the pinned comment. I'm waiting for you there.
Previously on Dragon Ball Kakumei, a mysterious being known as Amaron, the Venerable Heir, has awakened in Universe 14. This enigmatic warrior shares a close bond with Dromel, the god of destruction in this universe. Suffering from amnesia, Amaron seeks out Dromel in search of answers about past events. What will Amaron discover, and how will he react when he uncovers the truth? Find out now. Hakai. Do you like it when we bring Dragon Ball Kakumei here on the channel? If the answer is yes, then comment now #Dragon Ball Kakumei or anything else related to this manga. Your comment is very important for us to know that you like this story and also to help the reach of this video here on the platform. Your like also helps a lot, so leave a like now at the beginning of the video so you don't forget it later. Okay? If you are not yet subscribed to the Hakai channel, do so now and also turn on notifications so you don't miss out whenever a video is published here. Without further ado, stay with the next part of this incredible story that is Dragon Ball Kakumei. In Universe 14, more specifically on the planet of the god of destruction Dromel, Amaron arrives to meet his master and come clean about everything that happened. Through an open portal on the planet, Salaga and Dula arrives. Then Amaron himself comes out. After the three leave, the portal closes with the snap of a finger. The person who opened this portal was certainly Dula, Amaron's sorcerer servant. It is also Dula who announces their arrival, shouting for Dromel and Zeres, who are respectively the god of destruction and angel of Universe 14. Nobody responds. Salaga asks the Venerable Heir for permission to search the planet. Amaron concedes, and Salaga hurries to begin his tour. Amaron doesn't just stand there and wait, he takes flight and, accumulating a kind of magical energy in his hands, makes this energy spread. At that moment, he apparently begins to have a vision that transcends matter. Dula is not at all surprised by this. On the contrary, he seems proud of his lord. Salaga, on the other hand, didn't expect this and gets scared. He immediately returns to his master. Returning to Amaron, Salaga admits that he did not know he could use such a technique, but understands his master choosing to remain discreet about his abilities. Amaron ignores Salaga's comments, only saying that there is no life on this planet. The servant asks how long, and the master replies that it has been months. Dula perks up, perhaps excited by the skill his master just showed or irritated that there is no one on the planet. Salaga doesn't like this and scolds his companion. Amaron doesn't care. He doesn't seem interested in maintaining formalities at this moment. He points to a place and says that down there is a psychic beacon that has been deposited. Amaron is referring to a construction that, judging by the structure, appears to have a magical content. Very eager for an answer, Dula says they should not waste time and go there at once. Amaron says he is going alone, which makes his servants a little reluctant, certainly wanting to go with him. He, however, leaves no room for insistence, saying that this is non-negotiable. With no option left, Salaga agrees, telling him that they will stand guard just in case. Amaron agrees and flies away. He quickly arrives at the building and starts walking through it. With a gesture of his hand, he makes a kind of magical passage open and cautiously touches it to see what happens. Seeing that it is apparently safe, he passes through the passage and now finds himself in a different place, which seems to be a secret room. On the wall of this room, there appear to be 3 eyes that somewhat resemble Dromel's. Amaron observes the area for a while until he notices something. Who could it be? Outside, Salaga and Dula observe everything, with the tallest servant commenting that the pillars of the altar have come together to open a magical door. Dula asks if Salaga thinks Amaron managed to get in, when suddenly the altar disappears, completely shocking them both. In despair, Dula says he knew they shouldn't have let the master go alone and calls Salaga to look for the Venerable Heir. Salaga, more concentrated, can feel the master's presence, but he is in a different dimension now. Salaga decides to concentrate as much as he can on the master's presence while still being able to feel him. He instructs Dula to destroy the area at even the slightest sign from him. Dula says Salaga can count on him. In the parallel dimension to which Amaron was swallowed, a step comes out of the darkness towards the venerable heir, who quickly prepares for the worst by summoning a scythe in his hands. Amaron moves, but a Kaikai can be heard, and a strong light radiates from the darkness, dazzling the venerable heir's eyes. The person who reveals himself is Zhao, the Supreme Kai of Universe 14, who says he has been waiting for Amaron for more than 6 months. Amaron addresses him respectfully, indicating that the two have a good relationship. Zhao asks Amaron to follow him, and the venerable heir does as he says. As they walk through the place, the Supreme Kai of Universe 14 says that he must be confused by all this and apologizes. He says everything happened as they thought. Amaron highlights the we in Zhao's speech, who confirms it and says he will show it. They arrive at a seemingly special and secret place, with Zhao saying that Amaron is the only one who can come to that place. Amaron asks what this place is. The god of creation says this is the hall of the altar of angels. This is where the scepter of the angel of the universe resides when the angel is not using it. In fact, there is an angel scepter in this place, resting levitated on what appears to be a stone altar. As they approach the scepter, Zhao asks Amaron to take it. When he holds the scepter, a magical light is quickly emitted, showing Dromel's face. In what appears to be a magically recorded message, Dromel begins to explain the situation. He greets Amaron and says that, as he may have guessed, they are no longer here, and he apparently has amnesia. Dromel refreshes his memory, saying that their universe was wiped out in a second by the Omni King, while he was day after day proving his ability to become what he claimed to want to be. But suddenly, their universe was restored by a wish-fulfilling dragon. After this, he was approached by a woman who claimed to be the mother of angels and also the companion of the high priest. Dromel says that this childish and hierarchical madness of these so-called rulers of all things must end, so they made the decision to take action and go against the Grand Priest. Now they are in the moment before Amaron's amnesia, when he was on planet Bread, searching for his cherished relics. Aiming a sort of magical gaze at Amaron, Dromel grants him back his memories, which are quickly returned. Many images and voices come to Amaron's mind. On planet Bread, he asked Dromel if it was time. Unfortunately for him, Dromel replied no, disappointing his disciple. Dromel justified it, saying that he was very unpredictable and that he should stay on that planet with his 2 clowns. Amaron, however, is not obedient. With all the respect that is possible in a situation like this, he says that Dromel knows that he will go against his decision and will not let Dromel go without him under any circumstances. Dromel is firm in his decision, and seeing that there is no other choice, orders Zeres to take action, who obeys by touching his scepter to the ground, releasing magical energy. Amaron remembers that he tried to defend himself, but he was immediately sent to that place, with no chance of reacting. Amaron's last memory is of the god of destruction, stating that he will thank him later. Being abruptly struck by all these memories that have just returned, Amaron appears shocked at first, but soon after, he recovers himself, understanding the entire situation with a serious and determined look. Dromel continues his message, saying that if Amaron is hearing this, it's because the Grand Priest stopped them somehow and Zeres sent his scepter back to where he is before they were caught. Even before finishing listening to the message, Amaron starts to leave, surprising Zhao. As the message continues, Dromel says he will not be able to do his job. He says he will ask Amaron for just one thing, that he finish what he had to do. Dromel guarantees that he will have the time and status to do this, because from now on, by delegation, Amaron officially becomes the god of destruction of Universe 14. After hearing this announcement, Amaron returns to the common dimension, being received by his 2 servants, who were waiting for him worried and anxious. On that day, Universe 14 has a new god of destruction, Amaron. This is how chapter 11 of Dragon Ball Kakumei ends. And at the end of the chapter, we have this extra illustration of the god of destruction Frieza and his guardian angel Twist. In this illustration, Frieza is using his black form. But it's worth remembering that this form has not yet been confirmed in Dragon Ball Kakumei, at least not at this point in the story. A few chapters ago, the manga producers made it clear that Vegeta does not have the Ultra Ego in this story, and that Dragon Ball Kakumei may not change important aspects of the plot because of what happens in Dragon Ball Super. I don't know whether or not Frieza will have the black form in this story. Perhaps they insert this transformation as a power acquired by him after becoming a god of destruction, but there is also a great possibility that they have a different idea for evolution to Frieza. In fact, at the end of the chapter, right after this illustration, there is a message from them thanking the fans for their support and also explaining that this is just fan art and that this form is not canonical in their story. But now let's move on to the next chapter, chapter 12, which is called Amaron's Journey and has as its cover this illustration of Gohan, Jiren, and Amaron riding dinosaurs. So we already know that these three will be the protagonists of this chapter. The chapter begins with a wall somewhere being destroyed by Amaron, accompanied by Salaga and Dula. Salaga announces that they have found the mythical cube. Dula is excited, claiming to have never seen this type of divine vehicle. Amaron tells them not to waste time, as there is a lot of work to be done. They leave planet Drommel with the cube. Dula was ecstatic with the speed of the vehicle. Dula becomes curious about what the fuel is for this vehicle. First thinking it was magic, but then realizing with fear that it is the life energy of the passengers themselves. Salaga asks what the travel plan is. Amaron says he intends to see the Grand Priest in person. This leaves the two servants very surprised, since only angels should know where the Grand Priest's palace is. In an ambiguous answer, Amaron says that each element of the multiverse has a precise place and function. There is nothing left to chance. Dula is confused, saying he's not sure if he understands everything. He says that they cannot move from one universe to another in the order they want. For each itinerary, there are steps that must be respected. Amaron remembers that some time ago, there were only 12 universes. The gods created the term twin universes in the last millennium, but that was just a correction followed by their disappearance. Salaga is very surprised by this statement. Amaron explains that when the 18 universes coexisted, they formed groups of 3 called triplet universes. Universe 14, for example, shared the same galaxies, planets, and species with universes 5 and 8. Thus, it was connected to the universes of the gods Arak and Liquir. Dula reflects that, in this case, the place he came from exists identically in 2 other universes. Amaron explains that Dula and Salaga are an exception, since the demon realm, the place they came from, exists differently in each universe. To be clearer, Amaron explains that Universe 12, called Ultimate, and Universe 1, called Supreme, received back their twin, Universe 18, called Prodigious, Universe 2, Benevolent, and Universe 11, Justice, have as their twin Universe 17, called Desire. Universe 3, Witty, and Universe 10, Macho, have as their twin Universe 16, called Impish. Just a note on this page. Here, Vermouth is being considered the god of destruction of Universe 11 because Amaron doesn't know that the god of this universe is now Topo. Continuing, Universe 4, Malicious, and Universe 9, Sly, have as their twin Universe 15, Cursed. Universe 5, Balanced, and Universe 8, Worker, have as their twin Universe 14, Ambitious. Universe 6, Challenger, and Universe 7, Warrior, have Universe 13, Champion, as their twin. The universes are organized in circuits where each series of 3 follows one another. There is no way to go from one universe to the other unless they are connected in the circuit. Dula is fascinated by this entire explanation. Amaron returns to their travel plan, saying that they are currently between universes 8 and 6. Zeres told him at the end of the message that the Grand Priest's palace is in an isolated place, accessible only by passing through special portals in a set order. This order changes every 100 years, and Zeres told him the current configuration. The first portal they must pass through is in Universe 4. The journey will be long even using this cube. To get there, they will have to cross 5 universes, but after they arrive at the portal, there will be shortcuts. Salaga suggests that they take advantage of the stops to warn about the presence of the new god of destruction of Universe 14. Dula agrees, saying that they must show everyone that their universe is not easy to take over. Amaron agrees, eager to show his power to the other universes. Later, on a planet called Romaseri in Universe 4, the travel cube flies over a city on the planet, and they decide to make a stop. Dula uses his magic to create a carpet for his lord. He also uses his magic to project his image and voice to everyone around them, ordering them to kneel and announcing that has just arrived the one and only, the great, the impressive, the almighty. Lightning falls from the sky and the image of his lord is projected above all. Dula finally exclaims his name, Amaron, the true heir of the divine throne. Of course, no one understands absolutely anything about what's happening, which irritates Dula, who remembers that he told everyone to kneel. With the pressure exerted by Amaron's servant, everyone around was forced to kneel. Salaga deduces that they are a species that does not have spoken language, but Amaron disagrees. Among that crowd, 3 people stand out. One of them, in a mocking tone, asks what their demands are, and what they could want from insignificant people like them. These 3, who have just risen up, proving resistant to Dula's enchantment, are Ganos, Hop, and Chapil, warriors who participated in the Tournament of Power. Ganos really belongs to Universe 4, while the other 2 belong to Universe 9. The city's citizens recognize these 3 fighters, and highlight Ganos among them, who they call the Great Defender of Universe 4. Seeing his lord's authority being challenged in this way, Dula quickly decides to do something, going to the trio of warriors explaining that they are from Universe 14, and in front of them is the leader of that universe. Ganos counters this information, saying that when they participated in the Tournament of Power 2 years ago, they were told that there are only 12 universes. If he's saying they're from the 14th universe, it has something to do with the message the Grand Priest delivered months ago. Ganos concludes that they are definitely not welcome in Rosemary. His words are agreed by the other 2 fighters. Dula is surprised that they already know what's coming. Dula's intention was to play with them by thinking they were ignorant about the situation. He's a little disappointing, but also a little excited somehow. Salaga interrupts his companion by addressing the others, saying that they have done nothing to offend them for now. As they are generous today, the demon of Universe 14 suggests that the 3 of them kneel down to be forgiven. Ganos responds that, sadly for them, he is the most stubborn being in the universe. Understanding the message of what appears to be their leader, Hop and Chapil get into a fighting stance. Amaron realizes that there is no dialogue with them. Ganos transforms, summoning his power. This doesn't scare Dula, who says it's like attacking a bird's band whose mother is coming to protect. Salaga does not intend to allow them to reach Amaron, stating that a god of destruction cannot stoop to their pitiful level. Ganos is amazed when he hears that Amaron is a god of destruction. Hop is also startled, concluding that his level of divine ki is beyond their understanding. Dula asks the dear heir for just 2 minutes to teach them that this is a mistake they can never make again. Amaron turns his back, making it clear that this is not a problem he should deal with due to such insignificance. Despite knowing the danger they are in, Ganos tells his companions not to be discouraged, as he knows someone who would not allow a god of destruction to walk freely through his universe. The trio of bestial warriors prepares for combat, as does the duo of demons. On planet Quitela, he trains in combat with his angel, Cognac, when they notice something wrong. Quitela feels a key but doesn't know it. Cognac realizes that it is the energy of someone who could be a god of destruction. Quitela concludes that if it is the key of a god of destruction that he does not know, it is because this deity belongs to one of the resurrected universes. Quitela was not a god of destruction when these universes were destroyed, so he does not know the energy of the gods that were erased. He finds it strange for one of them to appear so soon, as the 2 years the Grand Priest gave have not yet passed. Not at all. Cognac also does not recognize this energy, and being able to measure this power states that it is much smaller than that of Quitela. However, this remains a problem. The angel asks what the god of Universe 4 wants to do about this. Quitela laughs at that question. He says it's his universe, and no one can intervene in it. The god of destruction of the fourth universe gives the order to leave, and his angel obeys, touching his scepter on the ground and taking them away at high speed. When night fell, the entire city that received Amaron and his servants was already destroyed. A boy calls in tears for his mother, who is certainly already dead. Of the planet's protectors, only Ganos remains standing, and even he barely remains that way. Amidst the corpses, debris, fire, and smoke, the god of destruction of Universe 14 and his faithful servants proudly observe their deeds in that place. They seem very relaxed and without any injuries or signs of tiredness. Bored sitting on a huge pile of corpses, Amaron says that they didn't go there to destroy them, just to say that the end of everything will soon begin. He is still patient and offers Ganos another chance to repent. He says that they were unable to do anything against his servants, even though they only used a small part of their powers. So is it wise to continue resisting like this? Amaron even adds that he is nothing compared to Dromel. Ganos asks who the hell this guy called Dromel is. Amaron says he won't bother explaining. He only advises Ganos to choose wisely, since he now has the lives of his people in his hands. And perhaps he might have the chance to meet Lord Dromel if he joins them. Ganos maintains his confrontational spirit. He says that Amaron can continue to keep acting full of himself, but he doesn't know who they are and what they are capable of. Dula doesn't let him finish speaking, and using his magic, he begins to take away all of Ganos' life force, suffocating the Universe 4 defender as he also takes away all of his youth. However, Amaron notices Quitela's approach and in fear calls his servants to leave. They do. An interesting thing is that although Quitela doesn't know Amaron because he only became a god of destruction after the erasure of Universe 14, Amaron already seems to know Quitela and fear him. But this is not necessarily incoherent, since Amaron may have studied all the current gods. In fact, he showed that he knows all of them, with the exception of Topo, who replaced Belmode very recently. Anyway, I just thought it was interesting to comment. Let's continue now. Sometime later, Ganos wakes up, called by Quitela. He did not remain old as when he was under the effects of Dula's magic. Ganos begins to speak in a confused way, and Quitela complains about this, although he recognizes that he arrived too late. Cognac also apologizes for them arriving late. Ganos remembers his friends and calls out to them. Luckily, they are both safe now, with their bodies surely healed by Cognac, although their morals could not be cured by the angel. Quitela, speaking to Cognac, says that the enemies are already advanced, but asks if they can still get there before them. They probably already know the destination of the invaders. Cognac says it won't be easy to get to them, as they are traveling using a cube. He praises them, saying they are not amateurs. Quitela says they shouldn't waste time and use their cube too, but he seems to remember that he let his son borrow it and becomes angry with himself. Quitela comments that it is not good to think that they need the help of mortals in the war, since apparently most of them are not at the level to fight in this conflict. Cognac agrees and says the few who can get there shouldn't be left mentally broken by defeats like this. Ganos, at the moment, is part of the mentally broken group. Quitela asks Cognac to clean up the mess on this planet and also erase the memories of the inhabitants so that unnecessary panic is not caused. They will also take this 3. Cognac comments that it is not like Quitela to act in the interests of mortals. The destroyer looks away, perhaps a little embarrassed. Cognac obeys his orders. Sometime later, Amaron and his servants arrive at Portal 1, present in Universe 4. Salaga comments about the portal in front of them and also that on the other side is Universe 10. After that, there will only be 2 portals to use, one to go to Universe 6 and another to go to the Grand Priest's Palace. They cross the portal and their first stop is a planet called Argon. Next, we see some more participants from the Tournament of Power, and apparently Amaron is welcomed by some inhabitants of this planet. 5 months have passed since Kansei and Kaishi's meeting. The 12 universes have trained and are still training hard in order to protect the legacy of past generations in the best way possible, and also the fate of future generations. But it is in Universe 11 that a young warrior sets out to upset the seemingly inevitable outcome of the approaching war. A jet flies over a destroyed city. On this jet are Jiren, Dispo, and General Kasseral. Dispo comments that Since the Grand Priest's announcement, a large number of criminals have appeared trying to force their laws. They know that a war is coming, and they try to take advantage of it to gain territory and wealth. Caceral emphasizes Dispo's speech by saying that these criminals are increasingly numerous, and it's up to them, the Pride Troopers, to stop these people until the 2 years have passed. This way, they will drastically lower the future High Priestess alliance. Jiren asks exactly how long Gohan has been on Planet Grill. Caceral responds that he has been there for 3 days, and it was only a few hours ago that he gave a sign of life asking them to join him. He really wanted Jiren to come. Jiren says it was inconsequential to let Gohan go to that place alone. Caceral agrees, but says there was no other choice. Members of the Pride Troopers are mobilized throughout the universe to prevent wars or terrorist organizations. Gohan himself offered to go on this mission alone. When they arrive on the planet, they get off the ship and see Gohan. He is shrouded in smoke with a completely determined look. Why is Gohan so serious? And why was he so insistent that Jiren come to him? Find out in the next chapters of Dragon Ball Kakumei. So guys, what did you think of this part of Dragon Ball Kakumei? Are you enjoying these newly introduced villains, Amaron and his minions? I personally like them. I found the characters very well introduced and also interesting. In fact, I didn't like Dula very much. He's just so-so to me, but Amaron and Salaga make up for that very well. Also comment what you think of the development of the story in general, and if you're excited to know what Gohan wants with Jiren. Leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so yet. And if you know someone who also likes Dragon Ball, send this video to them so more people can get to know our work. A big hug to all of you who stayed this far, and I'll see you in the next video.